So on the sidelines of this annual conference of Chapter Zero, we have the pleasure to have with us Mark Davis, Managing Director for Southeast Mediterranean Region, EBRD. Pleasure, sir, to have you on Nile TV, on the Egyptian TV. Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you a lot. Let me ask you, and let me begin by the theme, the title of this annual conference, titled Total Loss or Zero Emissions. What about this equation?
Look, I think it's key. We're glad to be a supporter, by the way, of Chapter Zero. Zero net carbon. It's extremely important for climate, for the future of the world, but it's very important for Egypt positioning itself. If you think, for example, about CBAM, which is something that Europe has, which is a special requirement that the companies that they buy from are reducing carbon. That means the prices are higher in Europe for those goods and services. So Egypt wants to compete for that. Egypt's an amazing place to compete. It has 365 days of great sunlight every year. It has it's a superpower in future potential renewables. And it's building a huge amount of renewables. It's way ahead in this curve, so it's moving very quickly. Under the Nawafi framework platform, which we're leading the energy pillar of that platform with the Ministry of Planning and Economy and the government of Egypt, 6.5 gigawatts already. We have a target of 10, and when that's done, we'll do even more. So that's a huge amount of renewables. It makes energy cheaper in Egypt, and it allows Egypt to export competitively to the rest of the world, which generates wealth for the Egyptian people.
So you are observing the steps taken by the Egyptian government, the Egyptian state, for more greener economy.
Absolutely. We're helping with the thinking. We're helping with the policy advice. We're helping with the regulatory frameworks. We're helping to work with the developers in the private sector. We're working on the tenders. We're working on the contracts for energy. And then we're bringing our own finance, and we're mobilizing finance of international and local investors into those deals. It's a very exciting piece of work that we do. It's about 50% of our business in Egypt.
Yeah. So what about the challenges, climate challenges? What about it here in Egypt? How do you see these concrete steps in order to transform it into really fruitful opportunities to be more and more greener in economy?
Look, I think water always comes to mind for me when we talk about climate challenges. We have rising sea levels, so issues about seawalls, for example, in the Mediterranean. Projects we have looking at that. It's adapting to potential those risks, but it's also access to water and the efficient usage of water. So in Egypt, there's a significant amount of water that it's technical losses in the pipes. They're old. The pumping station needs to be improved. So this is an area where I think we can improve working with the authorities and investing, including through public-private partnership. That is, getting the private sector finance, reducing water losses, therefore increasing energy efficiency in the water sector and providing better and cheaper water to the population.
There were a session, maybe it was a second session in this conference. The title of this session was Climate Governance and Action, Ministerial Leadership and the Private Sector Synergy for Greener Economy. So you were one of the panelists through this session. So what was your message through it?
Well, actually, we didn't get into it in the panel, but I have a message. Look, we work with the central bank and the banking sector on climate governance. So that's the governance around, so that when the commercial banks themselves have climate governance integrated into their business models, but then they look for that in their clients and they invest around that. So that's a very important piece. Another important piece is something called the Green Economy Financing Facility, which is where we provide funding to commercial banks, which are passed on to SMEs for green investments which reduce carbon. And it comes with an incentive. That is, if the SME puts in the capex, the capital, it's a new machine, a new boiler, a new process, and reduces carbon with it as promised, we go and evaluate it, and then they get a grant on top to make the financing even cheaper. So the grant comes in only after they achieve the results. So results-based lending is about climate governance through the commercial banking sector.
And by that, we can invest more and more in zero emissions.
That's the idea.
Yeah. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.